All set, Colin.
Now, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. We are just getting set up here in beautiful downtown St. Louis. You see the courthouse right behind me here. It's a gorgeous day. Sun is obviously shining, and it is a perfect blue sky right next to the Mississippi River. If I turn the camera to the river, all you'll see is the sun. So we have a beautiful shot of downtown right now. This is day 3 of our annual meeting. We'll be concluding at noon today, Central Time. And between now and then, we have even more exciting announcements and even more exciting things to unveil for all of our partners and mayors. Soon, Mayor Tashara Jones of St. Louis will be joining me right here at this spot, schedule willing, to go over our 2022 annual meeting. But before then, just a few administrative things to get out of the way. If you're just joining us for the annual meeting, great. You've come at a wonderful time for the capstone. I'm going to hand it over to Brant so he can go over the things you need to know in order to be involved and participate fully in the experience. Brant?
Hi, Colin. If anyone's having any issues, they can message me through the chat function. If they'd like to ask any questions of our great speakers today, please feel free to use the question and answer portion or raise your hand for more difficult questions and we will recognize you. Now I'll turn things back to Colin.
Thank you, Brant. And now I'm excited to introduce one of our rock star mayors, mayor who has been not afraid to take on the real significant challenges. A mayor that is doing great things from scratch in his town of Cairo, Illinois. Cairo has had its seasons of challenges, but Mayor Thomas Simpson has risen to the occasion, has a plan, and is making it happen on the ground. Today, we're going to be talking about building back better and what that means. Just a recap from yesterday, yesterday fits into today. You'll recall that we had a fantastic announcement, very transformative project that we're doing with 2 Degrees Adapt, Cargill, Black & Veatch, One Architecture, and other partners including Ducks Unlimited, to deploy natural infrastructure projects up and down the Mississippi River. We released yesterday a group of projects that will create upwards of 60,000 acres of new flood and disaster storage capability. This comes with a lot of co-benefits. We're not just talking about mitigating for floods, but also droughts, intense heat, named storm events, and other hazards. But with mitigating for hazards comes all the benefits too: cleaner water, less nutrient loading, outdoor recreation, tourism, economic development opportunities, and of course, a lot of ability to sequester a lot of carbon, few 100,000 tons of carbon to be exact. So that's what we're doing on the non-federal side of things. What are we doing on the federal side? What are we doing with our federal partners like Congress and the White House and agencies? What does that look like? Well, this morning, we're going to be talking about all of that, talking about our work with the Corps of Engineers, talking about our work with Congress, and our plan to work with them to support all of that other activity that we talked about yesterday and on Tuesday. So without further ado, I will let Mayor Tom Simpson of Cairo, Illinois, take it from here. Mayor Simpson, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Good morning. Welcome to day 3 of the digital version of the MRCTI 10th annual meeting. As Colin mentioned, my name is Thomas Simpson, Mayor of Cairo, Illinois, the economy, ecology of the corridor. The 2019 floods and the pandemic continue to impact the region, yet restoration is underway. Those championing our recovery have been working with our mayors on a large plan to move our region forward. Throughout this meeting, we have been discussing at length methods to bring private capital into the Mississippi River Valley, and we have been detailing our own partnerships to deploy new infrastructure. During this session, however, we will examine the federal component and how our mayors are working with congressional champions to match the non-federal work already underway. We're going to be hearing from 2 prominent members of Congress and then from the U.S. Corps of Engineers, Mayor Eric Simmons of Greenville, Mississippi, and Mayor Tim Baudier of Harahan, Louisiana, will introduce our first 2 speakers.
Thank you, Mayor Simpson. Can you hear me? Can anybody hear me?
I can hear you.
Yes,
Great. Thank you so much, Congressman. Thank you, Mayor Simpson. It is my distinct honor to introduce my congressman and friend, Congressman Benny G. Thompson, Chairman of the United States House of Homeland Security Committee. This past March, during our Capitol meeting, MRCTI mayors unveiled the Andrew Young Safeguarding the Mississippi River Together, or SMART Act. Our proposal will allow cities to transform their economies from polluted industrial to clean manufacturing and tourism. Our bill gives resources to states to secure their water quality so the 456 billion freshwater economy of the corridor can expand and thrive. The SMART Act also calls for the development of an establishment of a comprehensive Mississippi River restoration plan and the establishment of a National Mississippi River Program Office to both restore our ecology, mitigate for disasters, sequester carbon, and make our region more resilient. I'm pleased to share that Congressman Benny G. Thompson embraced our proposal. He worked with us to improve it, especially on the matters of equity, access, and inclusion. And through Congressman Thompson's leadership, the SMART Act has now been introduced in the House as H.R. 4729, and Congressman Troy Carter of Louisiana has joined as an original co-sponsor, and Mayor Baudier will be introducing him momentarily. Congressman Thompson is unique as he sees his role as being responsible for preparing communities for growth and success. And part of that preparation is making sure that infrastructure and support systems are in place to both attract businesses and make communities more livable. To do that, he makes sure that everyone has a seat at the table and opportunities are expanded to disadvantaged areas and also to minority and small and women-owned businesses. I applaud his work and his courage in keeping our democracy safe, Congressman. We've been seeing you on the news all over, and we thank you for your courage and your bravery, your brave leadership in keeping us safe during these times. Without further ado, I welcome my congressman and our friend, Congressman Benny G. Thompson.
Thank you very much, Mayor Simmons. I'm happy to see you, and please accept my apologies for not being able to attend the Blues Festival events in your city this weekend. Normally I would be there, but matters of urgency around Washington and other things prevent me from being there. But nonetheless, it's the oldest blues festival in the United States of America.
That's right.
I don't care what other folks say. So let me say to the group, I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me. In my district, just like a lot of others, it's easy to do the right thing. The river is historic. It's a mode of transportation for a lot of us. It moves our economy. The environment is important, but we have to treat it like a friend. We can't treat it like an afterthought. That means we have to protect it. We have to do the right thing. Historically, there have been some bad actors along the way, and our environment has suffered because of it. So when I was approached by Mayor Simmons and Mayor Flagg and others in my district, and my good friend Andy Young, about an idea of doing something for the river from a lasting standpoint at the federal level, it was easy. More importantly, with the election of Joe Biden and his Build Back Better philosophy, all of this actually falls right into place. So I'm excited about being a part of your program. And just kind of let me talk a little bit about the HR 4729, the Andrew Young Safeguarding the Mississippi River Together Act, commonly referred to as the SMART Act. And then I'll kind of close it out on the back end with a little gospel according to Benny Thompson, so you'll understand where I'm coming from. So this legislation, as it's presently presented, allows the Environmental Protection Agency and the Department of Interior and other agencies to provide grant assistance, federal coordination, and essential restoration and protection of the Mississippi River corridor. That means all the way from the top to the bottom. Everybody is a beneficiary. The purpose of this bill is to strengthen critical environmental services along the Mississippi River, as well as help sustain major U.S. economies that depend on them. It's one of our most treasured resources in our wildlife habitat and economic growth. At this point, I have 3 functioning ports in my district. It means a lot to the economy of my district and the river as a whole. In Greenville, Mississippi, where Mayor Simmons is the mayor, we have a covered facility so that even in inclement weather, our farmers and other goods to market, we can still function. It gives me bragging rights because a lot of material comes through there simply because of that one unique facility. Well, when Bill Clinton was president, that was called an earmark. And for some reason, earmarks became persona non grata, and our river has suffered because of that. As you know, Congress is bringing that back, and I think our ports and other related facilities along the river will benefit in addition to the river because of earmarking. So in addition, The SMART Act will allow cities and towns to transform their economies from polluted industrial to one of tourism and clean manufacturing. This bill is valuable for the future maintenance and evolution of the Mississippi River. It's the backbone of our region. However, we must protect our vital waterways and the communities that rely on it for drinking water, jobs, and recreation. It's also important that the Environmental Protection Agency takes its mandate seriously and continues to improve its health and resilience. By investing in the restoration and resilience of the river, its many tributaries, its countless plant and animal species, we are protecting our public health, economic security, and shared environmental future. So I'm in a unique position. I have one of the more rural areas in the country. I am a member of the Congressional Black Caucus. I'm a member of the Congressional Progressive Caucus. I support agriculture. I am a Sierra Club member. I am a hunter. I'm a fisherman. So a lot of the things that we delve from the river, I'm a part of. So part of the partnership we have to have, especially for a lot of the people who make their living on the fact that our inland ports and waterways are essential, we have to work together in making sure. So that means Democrats, Republicans, advocacy groups, and others. There has to be places where we can work together. I had some of my ag people in recently, and the first thing they asked me was, can we afford this infrastructure package? I said, yes. They said, well, who gonna pay for it? I said, same people that pay you your CRP payments, your WRP payments, and those other payments, so you can just eke out a living as a 3,000 to 5,000 acre poor Mississippi Delta farmer, those same people. So my point is just like with the SMART Act, we have to invest in our river. That doesn't mean to the detriment of agriculture or the environment. We can peacefully coexist, but we have to do it together. So rather than one person picking on the other, we are woefully intertwined in making this country better. And that's why I embrace President Biden's Build Back Better philosophy, because it's about diversity and inclusion. When I was first presented the SMART Act, it wasn't where it needed to be. But to the goodness of the people on this call and your consultants, you went back and you brought back a better bill, a bill that's inclusive, a bill that recognizes the worth and dignity of everyone in this country. And that's what it's all about. So as you go forward, I would encourage you to keep that. When you do your corporate advisory council, you look around the table and you make sure that corporate advisory council looks like America and looks like the river population. You make sure that your staffing of your organization looks like America. That's important. Sure, you got to create the opportunity. I have Alcorn State University in my congressional district. It's the oldest land grant college in America, whose property also is adjacent to the Mississippi River. So you can create opportunities. I want to encourage you to do that because the only way we will get this piece of legislation across the finish line is that we can show that it includes all of America, and that's so important. So that 60,000 flood and ecological events opportunity that you have taken, I encourage you to do it. But you have to create a lot of friends in order for this to happen. You've worked with DU and a lot of other areas, organizations. I encourage you to continue to do that. But you have to work with people and not take them for granted if we're going to be successful. So let me again, thank you for having me. I'm happy to be the original, not just co-sponsor, but I introduced the bill, Andy Young, and I go way back when I was an impressionable student at Tougaloo and heard him speak in the 60s. It made a significant difference in the life of Benny Thompson. So I'm happy to have him as the name person on this piece of legislation. I look forward to it moving. But I'm proud to know that there's such strong efforts to revitalize the Mississippi River. And I'm confident that you all will do a tremendous job. Stay together. You have to do it. You'll have ups and downs, but the long-term benefit of this organization and its membership is vital to the economy of our river and ecosystems. So again, thank you, Mayor Simmons, for your kind introduction, and I wish you for a continued safe effort in this endeavor. And if I can ever be helpful in any way, I want you to feel free to call on me. I'm just a phone call away. Thank you very much and enjoy the rest of your event. Thank you much.
Thank you, Congressman. And likewise, we appreciate your friendship and your leadership in what you're doing to support and be a champion for the Mississippi River region throughout all of Middle America. By way of personal privilege, the folks here in Ward 6 and the farmers along the river, thank you. And I just wanted to speak on their behalf in the award that we had last year with the Economic Development Administration that you came down to announce the $7.7 million. The city matched it to do a $16 million project for flood resiliency and flood management to help those businesses stay afloat when the river goes up and down. And so you've always been a friend of the river. You've always been a friend to ag. You've always been a friend to our farmers, particularly our Black farmers as well. We thank you and we just applaud your courage and all that you do for all of us here in the 2nd Congressional District. But more importantly, we thank you for what you're doing for the country and being a friend to the Mississippi River cities and towns. And so with the remaining time that the Congressman has with us, we will open up for questions right now. Mayors can either use their chat or digitally raise their hand, and Brent will elevate you in the Zoom to speak to the Congressman for a quick minute. I know he has a busy schedule, so we're going to make sure he gets out of here, but anyone that has questions at this time, please do so. And Congress, while we waiting on those questions, I do want to tell you we're going to have Bobby Rush, Tucker, O.B. Buchanan, J1. We're going to have a host of artists here. And I can tell you from the Mayor's Blues reception on Monday and yesterday with Family Day, Representative Beta, everybody is they're getting excited and geared up. If the rain doesn't come, they're gearing up to be outside, socially distanced. We got about 20,000 face masks for everybody out there, sanitizing stations everywhere. And so we're going to keep folks safe on the outdoors as they listen to some down home Mississippi Delta blues.
Well, the long-term plan is maybe we can make one of those river cruises port of call Greenville, Mississippi during the Blues Festival.
That's right. That's what we need. Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
I think we have a question from Mayor George Flaggs Vicksburg. Mayor.
Well, Mayor Simmons, I really don't want to question. I want to just join you and commending the Congressman for all he's doing for the state of Mississippi, for our country, and certainly for our district. Congressman Thompson, I just want to let you know that Mayor Simmons and I called you to talk about this piece of legislation, and without reservation, you stepped in and start helping us, and you helped us perfect it in a way that I think is strengthening. So I just want to congratulate you, commend you, and thank you for your continuous effort on making certain that the second congressional district in the Delta always at the forefront of everything you do. I can truthfully say that I don't believe there's a time when you have not represented the second district to the utmost. And I just want to be on record to thank you for that on behalf of not only our organization, but for our state and for our district.
Thank you very much, Mayor Flagg. As you know, for a lot of us, it's easy to do the right thing. And all of you do a good job. One of the first elected offices I had was being a mayor. And I know the trials and tribulations of being a mayor. So I compliment all of you on it. But it's nice when you have state and local partners on the same page. It makes your job as mayors far more easier. And so as long as we can keep this partnership focused on making our communities a better place to live, work, and enjoy, it'll work out. So I encourage you to continue the partnerships. And you know, it's about working together. You know, I work with my farmers, and I know, you know, if they had their druthers, they'd probably want somebody else, but that's all right. I'm gonna still work with them because it's important to the economy. They hire a lot of people, they feed a lot of people, and we'll continue to work. And they understand that my doors are always open. So I can be a liberal and support agriculture, but I also have to be pragmatic and do the right thing on behalf of everybody in this country. So as a country boy, and you know it, I live in a little town of 500 people. And so you can't be that liberal living that far in the country. So I'm excited about it, and I continue to look forward to work with everyone, and I appreciate everything you've said. Thank you again.
Yes, sir. We have another question by Alexander.
Yes. Hi. Thank you, Mayor. And thank you, Congressman, for that. I am actually on the corporate advisory board, have been part of the MRCTI for a while. And I'm not on the Mississippi River. I have the East River behind me here, but care deeply about the Mississippi. And I certainly would, you know, have a strong love for the river and its importance in the United States. So my question to you is, what do you see as the most important thing kind of private capital or corporate capital can do in addition to all kind of the work that you're doing from the federal level to help all these mayors? And that's really what I'm trying to drive forward, you know, for the next couple of years is how do you harness that private capital? Because as you said, everybody needs to work together, but more specifically, what kind of guidance or view would you have to people like myself who are not in Washington, not, you know, in the Mississippi River, but really care deeply and want to see a lot of the problems solved?
Well, thank you very much for that question. One of the things we have to do is for those people in the private sector, you have to say, well, we have to comment on issues of sound public policy. It might not be directly in our wheelhouse, but in the big picture scheme in terms of the environment, in terms of jobs, in terms of improving the quality of life, this makes sense. So you need to say that, you know, what's wrong with wanting to make sure that the Mississippi River continues to be safe from a travel standpoint, clean from the standpoint of the environment, and create opportunities. So whatever policies support that, we want to be a part of it. And the policies are not government overreach. It's sound public policies. So if there are some things that you think government can do, fine, but if there are things that the private sector and the public can do on the other side, you all need to talk about that partnership. And if in fact, on the private side, as I was saying to Mayor Simmons, we're now seeing commercial passenger travel during the Mississippi now. We could grow that from an economic standpoint. We are also seeing more goods traveling through our inland waterways and our inland ports. We can continue to build that as a significant capital market for the private sector. So you can be just a little selfish in what you do and make money and do good too. So I think being a corporate advisory person gives you a unique window into the future of what the river will do, but it also gives you an opportunity to set sound business policies as you also improve the quality of the river so that we don't clash at some point down the line, just like this legislation. At some point, we'll have to hold hearings on it. And it would be nice for the business community to say, you know, we have been involved in this legislation from day one. We've had to tweak it, we've done this, but at no time did we feel not included in the process. And I think that will go a long ways toward getting this legislation and other things passed at the federal level.
Thank you so much, Congress, for that response. Seeing no further inquiry at this time, I want to once again thank you, Congressman, for all your work and the help for the association. Assure you that we'll be working together throughout the 10 Mississippi River cities and states to support your efforts in passing the SMART Act. We're just a phone call away. Just give us a call. Of course, you have me and Mayor Flags here in your district, but all of the mayors along the Mississippi River corridor will be here to support you in your work in getting this bill passed. So thank you so much, Congressman.
Thank you very much.
Okay. I will now pass the floor to Mayor Tim Baudier to introduce our next speaker.
Brad, is Mayor Tim on the line?
Hey, Mayor Gallagher, how you doing?
Fantastic,
Friend.
Derek. How are you,
Good
buddy?
to see you, my friend. Just so I hadn't seen you
It's
in a
nice
while.
to see you. I wish we were in person.
That's right.
I don't see Mayor Tim, but I know Mayor Constant can introduce the congressman.
Perfect. Derek, thank you, Mayor Constant. Otherwise, I'd step in, but
No,
you take it away.
I am happy to be able to talk about my friend. I'm sorry Tim's not with us this morning, but I want to say thank you, Mayor Simmons, again, and to your congressman for sure. But I'm very excited to be able to step in here for Mayor Baudier and introduce Congressman Troy Carter. Through the Delta of Southern Louisiana is divided among several members of Congress, actually. But we know Mr. Carter supports us all along the Mississippi River corridor from Baton Rouge to New Orleans, the West Bank and beyond. As you mentioned, Mayor Simmons, Congressman Carter is an original co-sponsor of the SMART Act, something I'm personally very proud of. And we couldn't be happier to have his endorsement. And Mr. Carter can count on mayors with members of the House Transportation and Infrastructure Committee to work on accumulating support for Mr. Carter's effort to move the act through committee. So, I just want to say some personal things, and I know I've stepped in for Tim, but Troy is my friend. I'm excited to have not just a leader in Congress that we can all be proud of here on the West Bank of the river across from New Orleans, but a true trailblazer. And he's a man of first. He's the first African-American elected to the Louisiana State House from District 102, the first African-American to be elected to the New Orleans City Council representing District C, first African-American elected to the Louisiana State Senate representing District C, representing District 7, and the first congressman to be elected to Louisiana's 2nd Congressional District, my district, from the West Bank. We knew Mr. Carter would have a vision and a leadership needed to move something as important and consequential as the SMART Act. And I was too excited when Troy said, absolutely, I would be honored to do this. He's always there for me personally, for his entire congressional district. And Troy, thank you so much, because I know the substance of a true leader exists in Troy. Right now, we are in recovery. His task is monumental, trying to protect the people of his district, being exposed to Hurricane Ida and obliterated in some places. We're all still recovering from that, on top of flash floods as we speak. And he has made time to be a part of this, something that is so important to all of us. So with that, Troy, I just can't say thank you enough. And the floor is yours. Thank you for being here.
Mayor Botter was able to join us. If you'd like to say a couple words to Mayor Botter.
No, I'm Brian Wallace. I'm Chief Administrative Officer for the City of Harahan. In the fog of battle, we've got our times confused, so I apologize. We obviously got our teeth kicked in a little bit here in Harahan, so I hope everyone accepts my apology, including Representative Carter. Just in real brief, I'll say this, and I told Representative Carter this at one of his first gatherings during his campaign, that although Harahan doesn't fall within his district, it's important to have unity and strength in numbers. This idea that we can just go alone and do things our own doesn't work anymore. So we're about partnerships. I know Representative Carter is a strong leader, and we need that for Louisiana. We need that for the Mississippi Rivers MRCTI as well. And I know that the door is always open to Troy here in Harahan. And I know that he's going to represent us collectively, probably as good as anybody else could ever do. Again, I apologize. We think that MRCTI has just been absolutely fantastic in their response to Hurricane Ida. I know that Colin was on the phone with me as soon as he could, shipping cases of water, generators down here, which were in one case life-saving, or could have been life-saving. So we appreciate everything that you guys have done for us. And with that, I will pass it on to Troy Carter, the representative of the 2nd District of Louisiana. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Greatly appreciate your kind words. I know what you guys are going through in Harahan. I know that our entire state is incredibly challenged. So thank you for your kind words, and for my dear Mayor Constant, for your kind words and for your steadfast leadership in the great city of Gretna, in the aftermath of Ida and COVID and all the other challenges that are going on. We're so blessed to have your steadfast leadership. I had the opportunity several years ago as a member of the Senate to join MRCTI's conference, and had an opportunity to witness firsthand the leadership of Mayor Constant, had an opportunity to spend time with our great New Orleans native Ambassador Andrew Young, who is an incredible leader, leader of a lifetime, a larger than life icon, and someone that I am so pleased to have had the opportunity as a young staffer working then for Mayor Sidney Bartholomew to take to one of his favorite places to get a shrimp and oyster po' boy, Uglage's on Barone. I was a young staffer working for Mayor Bartholomew, picking up then Mayor Andrew Young to visit with our mayor at a conference. The mayor said quickly to me, "I really don't want to eat that rubber chicken. Can we detour for a minute?" For which I acquiesced quickly, and we ended up at Uglage's getting one of his favorite sandwiches. Mr. Ambassador, always great to be with you. Great to be with this great organization and to be a part of this great thing that you're doing. When Mayor Constant asked me to be a part of this organization, I didn't hesitate. Of course, I never hesitate when my mayor asks for anything. She's a strong leader, and she's very clear in the ambitions and the issues that are good for her city, and certainly good for our state, and certainly good for this great and powerful Mississippi River. So I was very pleased and honored to join my dear friend, fraternity brother, and outstanding leader, Chairman of Homeland Security, Congressman Benny Thompson, as an original co-author. You know, in Louisiana, we have a long road ahead of us. But I know by working together as leaders at all levels of government, we can help our constituents recover, rebuild, and rebuild better. All politics are local. And as a former city council member and state legislator, I know very much how much this is true. That's why the perspectives, opinions, and feedback from mayors and local leaders are so valuable. I still hold this perspective as I serve now in Congress. As a local leader, you know best what's happening on the ground and how partners in the federal government can assist those in our community. As mayors, you also know the power of the great Mississippi. As a son of Louisiana, I know firsthand how powerful these waters are. As a poor young boy growing up in Algiers, where we didn't have swimming pools, unfortunately, we spent many of our summers swimming in the Mississippi River. And my parents were terrified when they found out that we'd been in the Mississippi River. We know that it's dangerous, and we certainly don't suggest anyone follow those foolish footsteps that we took. Of course, now we have swimming pools, and we have splash parks, and we have other things for our young people to be involved in. But I mentioned that dangerous experience as a way of recognizing and showing some humility to the power of the Mississippi River, the power of its depth, the power of its force, the power of its ability to move commerce throughout the country. We saw it as a means of recreation as children. Now I understand the power of it as an adult and as a parent, praying that my children would never have to seek such recreation, understanding its significant and vast resource for commerce, for employment, for wildlife and fisheries. Louisiana is known as the fisherman's paradise, with some of the best fishing and hunting anywhere in the country. So we know the importance of protecting and highlighting our river. As climates continue to warm, we know extreme weather events, including flooding and hurricanes, will likely become more frequent and more intense. We have to be ready. We can't afford to be caught flat-footed. Lives are literally on the line. I'm so proud to be a part and to be original co-author of the Andrew Young Safeguarding the Mississippi River Act with my good colleague, Benny Thompson. And thank the ambassador for his lifetime commitment to important issues. This bill justly bears your name, a recognition yet of another milestone of great leadership, of things that you have done, not only for the Mississippi River, not only for your home state of Louisiana, not only for your adopted state of Georgia, but also for this state, this country, America, and this world. Mr. Ambassador, we applaud you. I tip my hat to you and thank you for giving me the opportunity to learn under you and to recognize firsthand the incredible leadership of a lifetime that you've given to our world. The great Mississippi is so valuable to our culture, commerce, and ecology for all communities. Tens of thousands of jobs depends on the river, and it supports tens of millions in industry. Our constituents recreate, catch their dinner on its banks, and make beautiful memories with family and friends. It is for all of these reasons that it's so critical that we are forward thinking to protect the river for generations to come. This bill is an important example of infusing resiliency into our infrastructure to both protect our communities and to use taxpayer dollars responsibly. Resilient infrastructure is top of mind for me as a member of Congress and as we debate transformative infrastructure and spending proposals. Infrastructure isn't important to those who are Democrat or Republican, white, Black, or any color. It's important to all Americans. Between COVID-19, Hurricane Ida, and many other disasters facing our communities, it's clear that we can't just build back things the way they were. We must build back better. Times are changing and our systems are failing to too many people. Whether it's roads or bridges, ports or childcare, we can and should do more. We have an opportunity to build back better. We need to jump at this chance. I'm grateful for the leadership of groups like MRCTI for bringing together this coalition of like-minded individuals to think comprehensively about the management and protection of this river. Though we come from Wisconsin or Louisiana or any other place in between, we all have at least one thing in common. We are all here because we share a love and deep sense of respect for the Mississippi River and the people who live, work, and play on its shores. I look forward to continue working with you on the smart, common sense, proactive legislation like safeguarding the Mississippi River together as long as I serve in Congress, as long as I breathe, as long as I enjoy the view, the depth, and the strength of the great Mississippi. I will be a part of this and will be a resource to you. I invite you to reach out, to utilize me. As Mayor Constant certainly knows, I will answer the bell and continue to be a tool as a federal partner to everything that's good for Louisiana and good for our country. Again, I applaud all of you, the leaders, the mayors, Ambassador Young, for your incredible leadership. I stand ready to assist, and I thank you for allowing me to be a part of this discussion today, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you so much, Congressman. Thank you. We truly appreciate your tireless efforts to our region. And as the Congressman said, the floor is open if anyone has any questions they'd like to pose to the Congressman.
And I know Benny did just such a great job. He may not have left anything for me. That's always the danger of coming after the chairman.
Wow. I think we have no questions. It's only because you've covered it all so eloquently, Troy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I just want to say thank you so much. Seeing no questions, we'll continue to look forward in you assisting us in our efforts. And it truly is a team here. And I appreciate you being a part of that. So thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Mayor Simpson.
Thank you, Mayor Simmons, Mayor Baudier, and Mayor Constant. We are now going to move into our conversation with the U.S. Corps of Engineers. For this portion of the session, I will call on Mayor George Flaggs to introduce our next speaker.
Well, thanks, and thanks to all of my colleagues here today and all the speakers that have come before us. I'm honored to talk about and to introduce the Corps of Engineers. You know, as I look out my window, I'm looking at the district office. So I constantly see the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers work, and as the employees go back and forth to work. But today is my high honor to present Mr. Jamie A. Pinkman, Acting Assistant Secretary of the Army for Civil Works. In this role, Ms. Bigman established policy, directed, and supervised the Department of Army Forces related to all the aspects of the United States Army Corps of Engineers Civil Works Program. These responsibilities include programs for conservation and development of the natural resources and wetland resources, flood control, navigation, and aquatic erosion. Prior to the appointment of Mr. Bigman, serving as the executive director of the Columbia River Tribal Fishing Commission in Portland, Oregon since 2017. Prior to that position, he was vice president of the Bush Foundation, in a private foundation in St. Paul, Minnesota. He has been a member of the Government Council of the Wilderness Society, American River Board of Directors, Native Art and Cultural Foundation, and the Board of Trustees of the Northern College in Wisconsin. So he's definitely had a strong connection of the Mississippi River and a passion and love for the Mississippi. So it's my honor today to introduce him today and let him give us the status of the Corps of Engineers and what he envisioned as relates to the infrastructure assets of the Middle America. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Flagg. And indeed, the Army Corps of Engineers has a large presence in Vicksburg, and I'm hoping to get to your city again and in the near future. And I'd like to stop by for coffee so you can help me to begin to expand my sense of community along the Mississippi. And let me share that I really appreciate the spirit of camaraderie that I've witnessed in the short time that I've observed this meeting. It's soothing, especially knowing the responsibility that rests squarely on your shoulders to safeguard your communities. Thank you for inviting me to speak today. And as the mayor said, as the acting assistant secretary of the Army for Civil Works, I work directly with the Corps of Engineers to deliver our civil works efforts across the U.S. And that includes the important work of protecting lands and people and serving their economies along the Mississippi River. And as you could tell by the mayor's introduction, I come from the Snake River country, the Pacific Northwest, and the Native society I was raised in was shaped by the rivers and their bounties, and how we identify, organize, and act as a tribal nation is woven into the existence of the rivers that exist to the day. And the rivers also formed alliances that we rely on even today. And I feel your cities exist in the same way. You know, through the generations, your economic and physical welfare, your recreational enjoyment, your resiliency, and thus your future is intimately tied to the river. And as collective stewards of the landscapes, our actions have even reshaped those very rivers. And the rivers are also responding to changes in naturally occurring patterns of flood and drought, and their timing, intensity, and duration are providing us new lessons. And so our administration, we seek to protect and sustain and restore the land surrounding the river. It's not a small task. And the tremendous resources found within the Mississippi is one that we cannot take for granted. And thankfully, many along its winding path have come together to highlight the need for more support, coordinated support. And I'm pleased to see that participants in this gathering have represented the public, private, and nonprofit sectors. And for me, that's an important recipe for building a larger community through shared decision-making, mutual respect, and common understanding. Our inland waterways are critical to the economic development of our nation, and that's why in the FY22 presidential budget, it includes over $269 million in funding for the Mississippi River and related tributaries. In addition, our budget includes $3.4 billion for the study, design, construction, operation, and maintenance of inland and coastal navigation projects. And these investments will facilitate safe, reliable, and environmentally sustainable commercial navigation at our nation's coastal ports and inland waterways. Also, the flood risk management program is funded at $1.7 billion in the 22 budget. And this program is a collaborative effort that integrates the flood risk management projects, programs, and authorities of the Corps of Engineers with those of other federal agencies, state, regional, and local agencies. So the budget invests in improving the nation's water infrastructure while incorporating climate resilient efforts into the Corps' commercial navigation, flood and storm damage reductions, and aquatic ecosystem restoration. And we also want to make sure that we make investments in programs that will help local communities identify and address their risk associated with climate change, as well as improve the resilience of the Corps' owned infrastructure. And of course, we've been hearing about the infrastructure package that is going forward, and we have projects that have already been authorized, and then depending on the outcome of an infrastructure package, we do have projects that we're hopeful that the Mississippi River communities will benefit from. Some of these projects may require some additional information or adjustments, updating of cost estimates, but it's something that once Congress responds, we want to move quickly to get these resources out to the communities. And of course, our shared vision would be nothing without the hard work of you, the cities and communities that touch the river. And we'll continue to work with partners, and we have great successes in portions in the Mississippi watershed where we see partnerships expanding, public-private partnerships to address the needs of the communities as well as respond to the river's health. And so I'm also going to ask for your help. You've got to be a part of the problem-solving team, especially in having your communities engaged in the diverse voices, big and small, so that they can have a say to make sure that the benefits of our work are shared even with the most disadvantaged communities. So I look forward to working with you, but most importantly, I look forward in my new position in learning from you to help me in the task that is set aside for both of us. And I just want to thank you for allowing me just a little bit of time to join you today. And I look forward to working with you in collaboration in the years ahead. Thank you, Mayor Flagg, and I'd be happy to respond to any questions.
First of all, on behalf of our organization, we want to thank you for all the things you do in your position, and thank you for your commitment and compassion to what you do. Are there any questions? Well, if not, again, I'm gonna turn it over to Matt Gallagher. But thank you.
Mayor Flagg? Yeah. Mr. Pickman, thank you very much. I'm Bob Gallagher, Mayor of Baton Rouge, Iowa, and a co-chair with Mayor Sharon Weston Broome of Baton Rouge. Thank you very much for joining us today. We look forward to continuing to work with you in the Corps. We've got a great partnership. Just wanted to make sure you and your team are aware of the work that we're doing on our proposal in the SMART Act, as well as the work we're doing with Ducks Unlimited to deploy natural infrastructure assets throughout the corridor. One's a funding mechanism and one's a partnership with those who know exactly what they're doing in building natural infrastructure. We've got a close working relationship with the Mississippi Valley Division and a memorandum of common purpose with the Corps of Engineers, but we hope to stay in close contact with your office moving forward, hoping that we can marry those assets with the assets that you have and the programs that you have to help make this river more resilient.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mayor Gallagher. And certainly it sounds like a project that I would benefit immensely from learning more about. So I hope to be in touch and see what more you can teach me about how partnerships work so we could duplicate that effort elsewhere in the basin.
We're going to be in DC March 8th through the 10th. Maybe we can hook up then. Write that one down. We'll come see you.
March 8th through 10th. It's jotted down. Thank you.
Thank you again. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I want to thank Mr. Pinkham for speaking with us today and assure him we are a close partner, ready to be a resource for you, for your work moving forward. This concludes our section 5 of our annual meeting. I will now place the gavel in the hands of my friend and colleague, Mayor Belinda Constance.
Mayor Constant, I believe the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Mayor Simpson. Good morning, everyone. This is Mayor Belinda Constant, as you said, Mayor of the City of Gretna, Louisiana. I am the MRCTI Louisiana State Chair and also serve as the presiding mayor over the Corporate Advisory Board, known affectionately to all of us as the CAB. And today the CAB is gathering to seat a new chair, vice chair, and members of the CAB joining for the first time this year. And I'm very pleased to share that we have 3 new member companies coming on board with us. We are very fortunate to have our current CAB chair, Shelley Hartfield, Director of Port Services for the American Queen Steamboat Company, with us today, a dear friend and someone that we've been fortunate to have on board with us. The first and second largest river cruise vessels, the American Steamboat Company, is on the Mississippi River. And we're excited that they've been with us and recognized in 2014 and 15 as the world's top river cruise line. And more importantly, however, American Queen has stepped up to be the first private carrier of nutrient sensors for the Mississippi River, getting us closer than we've ever been before to a real-time nutrient monitoring net. And it's something we celebrated just a couple of years ago when we kicked off that program, and something we were all very excited about then and remain excited about now. So thank you so much, the American Queen. So even more impressive, however, the American Queen and Viking both answered our call, the call of MRCTI, to assist Hurricane Ida impacted our communities. And both companies came to the fray immediately to offer assistance, which I can absolutely speak on a firsthand basis about. I can speak personally to what it meant to not just the city of Gretna, but surrounding communities. I know Tim Baudier is with us now. I know Harahan benefited from this. We can't say thank you enough because in those early days when it's you fending for your people and nobody is there to assist, it's all on us. And so for MRCTI to have been such an immediate responder through our CAB membership, I just can't say thank you enough for all of you for what you did for us during that time. As our outgoing CAB chair, American Queen has been exemplary in going above and beyond the role and has helped our cities both collectively and individually during the floods of 2019, the pandemic, and now after the most recent hurricane. Shelley, thank you for being not just a CAB member, but a tremendous asset to MRCTI and a truly transformative chair of the CAB. And now, Shelley, I want to give you the floor.
Thank you, Mayor Constant. Our thoughts continue to be with all of our friends in Southern Louisiana. It has been a pleasure and an honor to serve as the MRCTI CAB chair over the last year. Our common goals and priorities are what brought American Queen Steamboat Company to MRCTI in 2016 and will keep us engaged for years to come to build back better. I found Congressman Thompson's guidance interesting, especially his discussion to have CAB members tied to those who live along the river. Several years ago, we crafted an onboard program with Alcorn University students to create a dynamic dialogue between them and our guests. We do not only see the river as a highway to move our riverboats, but instead a main life source for our country and a waterway that ties cultures together. Through our participation with MRCTI and the CAB, we have developed strong partnerships and revolutionary projects with agencies and organizations. One example was the collaboration with the USGS that was facilitated by MRCTI to install mobile super gauges on our riverboats. And this latest is a partnership with Rotary to create a community service voyage to support local club projects and future Rotary members. This cruise will actually begin on September 26th, which is World Rivers Day. We are pleased to announce that our guest will use the marine debris tracking app during this voyage and hopefully anytime they are traveling along the river. Lastly, MRCTI meetings have given us the networking opportunity to develop new ports such as Kemswick, Missouri, and others along the river. These are not only one-time investments, but are investments that will support clean water, sustainability, and economic development for future years and generations. We are hopeful for the future and look forward to assisting with and investing in green space and natural infrastructures along the river, especially in areas surrounding riverboat landings. Creating beautiful landscapes are functional for the community and visitors and is a long-term win for everyone. We could not be more pleased or proud to be part of the MRCTI CAB and look forward to many more collaborative opportunities. I strongly encourage companies to inquire about becoming a corporate advisory board member The networking and partnerships that are formed by this affiliation are mutually beneficial to all. I'd like to extend a warm welcome to our new corporate advisory board members, and I leave the CAB leadership in Alex and Mark's capable hands. And I will be here as a CAB member to support MRCTI in any way possible. Again, thank you, Mayor Constant, and I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you so much, Shelley. And again, a job well done. Thank you so much. So proud to have you a part of this organization. Now, pursuant to Corporate Advisory Board rules, the CAB Vice Chair automatically becomes chair at each annual meeting. So it is with great pleasure that we officially recognize Alexander Loukopoulos, partner of Science Capital. Science joined our CAB in 2019 at the Memphis meeting, but Alexander has been engaged with MRCTI since 2018, thanks to CDP North America. Science will step into the CAB chairmanship at a crucial moment to advise us on infrastructure financing issues and continue working with MRCTI on the development of a Mississippi River Infrastructure Fund, which we made excellent progress on during this meeting. So it is with great pleasure, I want to say, please welcome Alexander Loukopoulos. And Alexander, I hope one day soon we can stop meeting in this format and be able to meet once again in person. So with that, Alexander, thank you so much. And the floor is yours.
Well, thank you, Mayor. And yeah, absolutely. Hopefully that day is soon. First of all, I want to thank Shelley for all the hard work she did last year, and Colin and Brant for driving this corporate advisory board to the level that it's at right now. Just to highlight, I think what is important and what we would like to focus on is we're at a critical point. I think a lot of the congressmen over the last few days have talked about it in terms of getting the right capital into the Mississippi River, doing it in a new, innovative, creative way. And I think there is nobody better positioned than the collective group at MRCTI to be able to do that and be a showcase for the rest of the United States. So that's going to be certainly a focus of ours, is coming up with that innovative structure. We began to talk a little bit about that and present it to the rest of the community just 2 days ago. Hope to be driving that forward along with the other corporate advisory board members, and hopefully bring some real results and some real capital and some real solutions on that front to the mayors of the Mississippi. And then I guess the second thing is hope to advance making the corporate advisory board bigger, bring in some new constituents into it. We've brought in some great new members this year, but hope to expand that. And as you know, Congressman Thompson said, for this really to be a reflection of all of the United States, and to be a reflection of all types. And so we hope to drive that and expand that from where we sit, and make that a stronger part of MRCTI, and hopefully an incredibly collaborative one, because we are in a unique time and a unique point in kind of this nation's history in terms of collaboration, environmental issues, infrastructure, capital issues. So let's all try to make sense of that together and drive some real change and some real opportunities for everybody to benefit. So thank you. And thank you, Mayor Constant, again, and look forward to working with all the mayors throughout the next 12 months.
Thank you, Alexander. And again, welcome aboard as CAB chair. We're looking forward to a successful year. So thank you. And now moving into the role of CAB vice chair this coming year is JF Brennan Company. And at this time, I'd like to recognize Mayor Mitch Reynolds of La Crosse, Wisconsin for this introduction. Mayor Reynolds.
All right, thank you so much, Mayor Constant. Super pleased to see La Crosse's own JF Brennan Company elevated into this new role with the Corporate Advisory Board. And joining us to represent Brennan is Vice President of Business Development, Mark Binsfeld. The navigation industry for the entire Mississippi River generates over $4.8 billion in revenue annually and employs almost 20,000 people. But Brennan, of course, doesn't just support navigation. It's fleeting, sustainability, and port service activities also support manufacturing, energy, and mineral resource economies of the river. And together they generate more than $330 billion annually, employing over 652,000 people along the waterway. So Mark, thanks for being here. And with the new infrastructure package making its way through Congress right now, I think Brennan having a leadership role in the river will be more critical than ever.
Mayor, I think we may have just lost Mark. I don't see him on the conference anymore.
All right, well, thanks for that notice, Brant, and just a welcome to Mark anyway. And again, I appreciate his elevation, the JF Brennan's elevation to the new role of the Corporate Advisory Board. Mayor Constant.
Well, thank you so much, Mayor Reynolds, and congratulations to Mark. He may pop back up with us soon, maybe. If not, I know this message will get to him through MRCTI. And at this time now, we want to officially induct our newest members into this meeting and in this meeting to the Corporate Advisory Board. And right now we're going to welcome 3 new members, and those members are Norton Rose Fulbright, US LLP, represented by Senior Counsel Damian Georgino, LaChance Vineyards, represented by owner Harold Hamby, and CSRS Inc., an organization close to my heart, represented by President Tim Barfield. And if you could just please turn on your screen so you can simply respond, "I do," to the following. As a member of the Mississippi River Cities and Towns Corporate Advisory Board, I hereby commit to working with the mayors along America's Great Waterway toward the ecological and economic sustainability and resilience of the Mississippi River corridor. Do you agree?
I do. I'm trying to learn how to do that.
Thank you. We have much gratitude for sure to all 3 of you, and we want to say welcome aboard. We're excited to hear from each of you regarding your new partnership with us. And Damian, if we could hear from you first, if Damian Georgino is on the Zoom with us. I know we're excited to work with Norton Rose Fulbright. Whatever you can do with us in structuring and solidifying the Mississippi River Infrastructure Fund, which was featured and discussed at length just a couple of days ago. So, Mr. Georgino, the floor is yours.
I think Mr. Georgino, I know he was on earlier. Looks like he signed off.
Okay, then we'll move on to welcome another advisory board member. I want to turn it now to Harold Hamby. And for this introduction, I want to recognize my cohort, Mayor Phil Stang. Mayor Stang.
Okay, good morning. Everybody hear me? Can anybody hear me? Hello?
Mayor, you're kind of going in and out.
We got you.
Okay, well, all right, good. Well, I'd like to introduce Harold Hamby and LaChance Wineries because I think one of the things that we have seen, especially throughout all the mayors, but with the CAB, is what does cooperation really look like? Now, as a guy who believes I can leap tall buildings with a single bound, just like my friend Belinda Constant, I need support. I need help in building the kind of city that I need. And 2 of the people on this call right now have helped me do that. And that's our outgoing chair, Shelley Hartfield, and Harold Hamby. Harold's winery has, they were the #1 winery in Eastern Missouri. If you watch all of the award shows, you'll see all of those fantastic people introducing movie stars and so on. And in that bag is LaChance wine. Additional to that, he has helped in building our port. He's a cornerstone of our city. And for Mayor Bautier, Mayor Constant, and Mayor Cottrell, where I grew up, we have a way of getting things done. And before he put his first grapevine in the ground, Harold was very instrumental in moving things all over the world. And so What I say is, I know a guy and I know how stuff got to your cities, thanks to Harold and his friends in the transportation industry. So without further ado, Harold Hamby. Where'd he go?
Mr. Hamby, I think you're muted. Mr. Hamby, the floor is yours if you have comment, and I think you need to unmute.
Looks like his screen is frozen, if I'm correct. Yeah.
I just asked him to unmute and he wasn't able to.
Uh-oh.
Maybe it's best to go to Mr. Barfield and come back to Mr. Hamby.
Okay, so we'll come back to Mr. Hamby. Thank you, Mayor Stang. And of course, we welcome Mr. Hamby. I mean, there's two things in life, chocolates and wine. And I can't wait to, have a sample from our newest cab member. So I'm excited about that.
Come visit us.
I will do that. Our next new cab member is an organization with a particular presence in my area. They're headquartered in Baton Rouge. CSRS helps mayors plan, design, fund, and implement sustainable projects, recover from disasters with more resilience, as we're trying to do right now, and navigate political bureaucracy so that we can achieve our goals today and well into the future. I would note that CSRS is already stepping up to embrace their new role with us by offering to work with our cities most impacted by Hurricane Ida on their recovery and aid applications at no charge. Thank you for that. We're very excited to have them on the cab. And at this time, I'm excited to introduce to all of you, Tim Barfield, President of CSRS. So Tim, the floor is yours. Thank you so much for this commitment, and I'm happy to see you here.
Thank you, Mayor, and it's an honor to be involved. I will tell you, I didn't know much about MRCTI, and until we rated one of your key employees, Matthew Martinick, and we have been so impressed. I've personally been impressed. I regret with the hurricane follow-up and with a lot of what our employees and our clients are going through. I've been more distracted the last few days than I originally wanted to be, but this has been really impressive on all fronts. And I look forward to the ability for our company to learn a lot. It also, I would say, it fills me with so much hope to see so many mayors with vision and action-mindedness and collaborating with others across the Mississippi River that have common challenges and struggles and developing common solutions. That's just so encouraging and something that frankly you don't see every day. So it's been really impressive to see that. And then if you look at it from a standpoint of the fit with what we do, I mean, I'm just amazed at the presentations, the focus on infrastructure resilience, using recreation for multiple purposes for quality of life, but also to improve a community's resilience and storage of water and utilizing nature. I learned a lot about river cruises, which I've never been in, but how, kind of one of our big areas of focus has been economic development. And it's great to see cities and towns up and down the river really tapping into multiple avenues to develop their economy and to develop the tourism and all those things. So we're particularly excited, but I want to commend all of you who've been involved with the organization and with the corporate advisory group for all the work you've done to see the legislative initiatives that y'all have been behind and are working. It's rare that you see an organization with 100+ mayors with such a focus on substance, and just really commend y'all for that. So we're proud and honored to be involved.
Thank you, Tim. And I'll just hold you to the fact that you've got Matthew, but now we have CSRS committed to MRCTI, right?
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. So.
All right. Well, we look forward to this partnership. We're excited about it. Thank you so much for being a part. And at this time, we do want to allow for some dialogue between all the mayors and all of our new CAB members. So the floor is open for any questions, comments regarding any of the presentations from the CAB members. Colin, any comments?
Yeah, thank you so much, Mayor Constant. Really want to congratulate our new CAB members in coming aboard. I did see Damien, he was on just a few minutes ago. This is the wonderful world of Zoom. For instance, I had to move because of a combination of a fountain and a car alarm, or you wouldn't have heard me at all. So just the world we live in now, hopefully not too much longer, and we can just all be together in the same room and share each other's company. I don't want to take any thunder away from Harold, but he did have something really cool to share that he told me about. I just want to see if we were able to get him connected. If not, I'll just give folks a preview, a little preview of what he was going to talk about. Brant, were we able to get him connected, or is he still having electrical or electronic issues?
I think we can hear him, although we don't have any video. Mr. Hamby, are you there? His microphone was moving just 20 seconds ago.
Okay.
And he's gone.
Well, I'll just say this. I'll just say that, you know, we've never had a winery on the corporate advisory board, and it's really cool to have Harold on. And, you know, Damien with Norton Fulbright, he's going to help us with the Mississippi River Infrastructure Fund, along with Alex. They're going to work closely together on that project, which is a huge project we've been working on with Ambassador Young now for several years. And CSRS has just been so generous in helping our cities with their FEMA applications and getting the assistance they need in their recovery phase post Ida. They're doing that at no charge. That's incredible gratitude. But with having a winery on, and when Mayor Stang brought that to our attention, hey, would you like a winery on the cab? Yes, please. That's fantastic. And one of the things that Harold talked about doing was he has put together a new national wine label. It's a national label he has built. And one of the things that he would like to work toward is having a special wine under that label for the Mississippi River unveiled here in St. Louis when we come next year in 2022. He's got more detail on that. And it's something he wants to work on. I know he was very excited about it. He's already started working on it quite a bit. I was impressed. And, you know, Mayor Stang simply said, yeah, I know a guy. So it's great to have all three of these companies on board. And I just wanted to offer our congratulations staff side for all of their work and in helping lift our mayors.
Colin, Mayor Stang is showing us a wine bottle that clearly came from a Chance Vineyards. And I think, Harold, maybe we can hear you again. Try it, Mr. Hamby. We'd love to hear from you. Oh, there we go. Try it.
Mr. Hamby, you're muted. There you go.
Well, now, can you hear me now? All right. My background, I don't know, I guess am I on? My background is in shipping, and for the last several years, we've been involved more with event marketing shipping. So we're live events. JIT is just-in-time shipping. So when I got a call from Mayor Phil, we call him here locally, not Mayor Stang. He said, you want to be a hero? And my first thought was duck. But we were able to get a truck and a team of drivers to get to the New Orleans area to get those generators from Colin. and that bottled water down to the New Orleans area overnight to help out. Hopefully it helped out. I think it did. I've been a small business owner for a long time, background in shipping, obviously, but about 10 years ago, we planted some grapes and started making a little bit of wine shortly after and opened a winery in nearby DeSoto. Came to Kenswick a year and a half, 2 years ago, and opened a winery here on the Mississippi River. I will tell you that about a year ago, I didn't realize there was such a thing as a riverboat touring up and down the Mississippi. Colin and Phil have changed that. I've been that was like the local.
Mr. Hamby, you're breaking up. I think maybe if you turn off your video, it would help.
Am I going here?
There you go. We can hear you.
The impact that had on this small community is amazing. Those folks getting off of that boat were like rock stars when they got here. That boat was like a intergalactic spaceship, like nobody'd ever seen one before. The popularity that those riverboats bring to small communities and the economic impact here has been unbelievable, not only to Kenswick, but to this county and this part of the state. Because our background has been in events marketing, I feel like where we can maybe help out somewhere in the future is to help other communities with tourism, hopefully through some wine, through some
I think we've lost him again, Mayor Constant.
Okay, so I think we'll go ahead and continue. And if he comes back, we'll let Mr. Hamby express some further thoughts. But at this time, I just want to say thank you to all the CAB members. And we will now move into the business part of our meeting. But first, I just want to take one personal point of privilege just to give everyone a concrete example of just how valuable the CAB is. Our corporate advisory board is our entree into working with the private sector, and it's been remarkably successful thus far. It has directly helped us already in responding to emergencies, especially the emergencies we've all just been engaged in. The CAB is a continuing source of innovation for our association, and bringing in new partners that we've been able to link to frontline opportunities is incredibly important to us as mayors because we are on the front lines. So now I'll leave it at that. And next up, we have our MRCTI business meeting about to begin. It will be presided over by our co-chairs, Mayor Sharon Western Broom of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and Mayor Bob Gallagher of Bettendorf. So I'll turn it over at this time to Mayor Broom.
Thank you, Mayor Constant. I too want to welcome our new CAB members and congratulate Alexander with Siemens Capital in becoming our new Corporate Advisory Board Chair, and Mark Bensfield with J.F. Brennan in becoming our new Vice Chair. I would be remiss if I didn't recognize Baton Rouge's own CSRS team for joining the CAB during this meeting. And thank them for offering to help cities who were hit by Hurricane Ida with their FEMA requests. That's how we do it here in South Louisiana. Now I would like to begin our business meeting. For this piece, we have 3 items to address. Receive a preview of our 2022 annual meeting, release an anticipated plastic pollution initiative report, and elect and seat the new MRCTI Executive Committee for 2021 through 2023. For our first order of business, I will recognize Angela Pearson from the city of St. Louis, who is actually with our headquartered city. Unfortunately, St. Louis Mayor and my friend Tashara Jones is unable to be with us at this time. Ms. Pearson.
We appreciate being here. So St. Louis is excited to be hosting the 2022 annual meeting next year in September, the 13th through the 15th. We are very inspired by the work that MRCTI, and we are honored that they chose our gateway city to celebrate the association's 10-year anniversary. We promise you that St. Louis is going to rise to the occasion. We're already planning and assembling what I know will be a memorable celebration. We're partnering with world-class venues to be part of our conference. When MRCTI was last year in 2017, the new arch grounds and facilities were not yet completed. I believe that mayors took a tour of the unfinished museum and the visitor center, but now it's complete, and it's totally state-of-the-art experience we know you will definitely enjoy. We're also going to partner with the St. Louis Aquarium and others to bring a new level of involvement of the arts and culture aspects to the MRCTI experience. Of course, all of this is pandemic pending. We have to forego, I know we've had to forego 2 annual meetings this year, and so we were looking forward to being in Baton Rouge, but we're very happy about hosting the next meeting, and thank you for having us.
Thank you, Ms. Pearson. We're very much looking forward to being in St. Louis once again for our annual meeting. We're now going to move on to unveiling the much anticipated Plastic Pollution Initiative report. We'll hear from 2 of the cities that took part in the pilot portion of this project, my co-chair, Mayor Sharon Weston Broome, and Mayor from St. Louis. So maybe Angela or Jennifer Wendt can tell us how St. Louis went, as well as the partners that have created this initiative with the MRCTI. Those partners include the United Nations Environment Program, the University of Georgia, and the National Geographic Society. It's important for me to note that I'm a proud part of the next phase of this initiative, as in the initiatives coming to Quad Cities. Of course, Bettendorf is a city included in the Quad Cities, and we are in fact launching this initiative in October here in the Quad Cities. We launched the entire effort in the Quad Cities at our annual meeting in 2018. That was a great conference here as well. So to continue this conversation, please welcome my MRCTI co-chair, Mayor Sharon Weston Broome of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Sharon?
Thank you so much, Bob. St. Louis, like Baton Rouge, committed to participating in data collection for the initiative that took place in the spring of 2021. I wanted to take a few, I don't know if you could see this headline because of my graphic, but at any rate, the headline in one of our papers today says, "Trash in Mississippi River Surveyed. Researchers collect data in 3 cities." So that's from our Advocate newspaper today. You can see that online. The Mississippi River Plastic Pollution Initiative began with a commitment from cities, state legislators, and businesses to reduce plastic waste in the Mississippi River Valley. As the first ever river system to join the United Nations Clean Seas campaign, we realized the impact plastic waste was making on our river cities, the Gulf of Mexico, as well as the world's oceans. Working with the United Nations Environment Program, the University of Georgia, the National Geographic Society, local governments, organizations, and community members, we have embarked on an innovative battle plan against plastic waste. The intent of this initiative is to take a plastic pollution snapshot through community science using the Marine Debris Tracker. Data collected will help determine what, where, and how plastic waste makes its way to the river. Altogether, there were 3 pilot cities involved: my city of Baton Rouge, St. Louis, and St. Paul, Minnesota, representing the lower, middle, and upper river. I am proud to be a part of this endeavor. I am also proud of organizations in Baton Rouge that collaborated on this effort: the LSU College of Coast and Environment, BREC, the Recreation and Park Commission for the Parish of East Baton Rouge, and Louisiana Earth Day, just to name a few. I am eager to use these results to make changes in Baton Rouge to reduce and prevent plastic waste throughout my city and its waterways. We all know that litter impacts our community's quality of place, socially, economically, and environmentally. With this, I would like to recognize the City of St. Louis to discuss their part in the Mississippi River Plastic Pollution Initiative, whether Ms. Pearson or Ms. Went takes up that baton.
Thank you, Mayor Broome. As a pilot city for the Missouri River Plastic Pollution Initiative, we are eager to use the results of the report to determine and implement practices to reduce plastic litter from our community, its waterways, and ultimately the Gulf of Mexico and the ocean. The Mississippi River is a historic, iconic, and essential part of St. Louis. Our river has been integral to the life in the St. Louis region for hundreds of years, and thousands of years before that to the Native Americans who utilized the river for transportation, food, and their livelihood. Sitting at the confluence of the Missouri and Mississippi River, and just south of the confluence of the Missouri and Illinois rivers, the quality of the Mississippi River through St. Louis and downstream is a responsibility that is taken seriously. As plastic use and waste continue to grow, it is critical that we realize actions to combat this problem. I'm proud of St. Louis's involvement in the initial data collection activity that occurred this past spring and continues today. Many organizations stepped up to join in, such as the Missouri Department of Conservation Stream Teams, the Earthways Center of Missouri Botanical Gardens, and Earth Day 365. I'd also like to thank all of our volunteers and residents who worked hard on this initiative and continue to work to clean our community. The St. Louis community is dynamic, incorporating industrial, recreational, and a significant residential footprint that stretches across our city. In order to most effectively keep our cities clean, we have to know where floatable waste originates, accumulates, and what are the main pathways by which waste gets into our waterways. Clean communities have higher property values, better quality of life, water security, lower crime, and safe open spaces that attract outdoor recreation and tourism opportunities. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Angela. We appreciate you being here today. This leads us to an exciting announcement regarding how this work is being furthered and further supported by the United States Environmental Protection Agency. This is an extraordinary opportunity for the MRCTI cities to join forces with the EPA through the signing of a memorandum of understanding, magnifying our campaign against plastic waste. In that regard, it is with great pleasure to recognize our next speaker, Janet McCabe, the Deputy Director for the United States Environmental Protection Agency. Administrator McCabe was sworn in as the 16th Deputy Administrator in April of 2021. Ms. McCabe knows firsthand through experience that programs to improve public health and to protect our environment are strongest when they are informed by a diversity of perspectives. Administrator, thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate you joining us. Great to see you. You have the floor.
Thank you so much, Mayor Gallagher, for that nice introduction, and to the co-chairs of the meeting, Mayor Sharon Weston Broom, and Mayor Jones, even though she couldn't make it this morning. I'm really honored to be able to join you this morning, and even more honored to be able to put my signature on this amazing agreement that represents so much hard work. It's just an honor and a privilege to participate in your event and to be joined by so many local leaders. And I'll just mention on a personal note, I'm a Midwesterner. I live in Indianapolis. It's not along the Mississippi River, but I've spent a lot of time working with mayors in my home state of Indiana, and I know that it is the mayors and the staffs who work for them that get stuff done in this country, have the best ideas, know what needs to be done, and know what's going to be successful. So we're just thrilled to be joining you, and recognizing the amazing work you do every single day for your residents, whether that's dealing with the impacts of the COVID-19 virus, to the subject of today's announcement, which is making sure the banks of the Mississippi River stay clean, which also has the benefits of improving quality of life in the environment and health in your communities as well. You are always on the clock. I know you're always on the clock, and at EPA, we're just thrilled to have an opportunity to support you in your efforts to protect human health and the environment. I love this initiative. From the northern banks in Minnesota to the southern shores in Louisiana and all the way in between. The Mississippi River is a national treasure. It's an icon. It is I was trying to think of, is aorta the right word to use? The lifeblood of the middle of the country, so meaningful in so many ways to all of the people in your 10 states and beyond, and the more than 100 mayors represented in this initiative. So for you all to come together around anything is a major feat, but I know that you understand how important that is. We are all upstream from somebody, right? And we're all downstream from somebody. So organizations like the Mississippi River Cities and Towns Initiative bring researchers, mayors, the federal government, international organizations, nonprofits, and others together to help further our collective understanding of environmental challenges like the plastic pollution challenge we're talking about today, but also nutrient pollution, climate change, and so many others. The focus today is efforts to reduce plastic pollution. There are few more dramatic examples of the way modern society is affecting the environment and our health long-term than pollution in our waters, and especially plastic pollution. It's a global challenge, but of course, any global challenge needs to be addressed by local efforts, one by one, across our country and other countries. Up to 80% of the plastic in the oceans originates from land-based sources. And we know from the United Nations Environment Program that up to 40% of plastic pollution entering the Gulf of Mexico originates from the Mississippi River. Much of this is items that all of us, that we use once and throw away. And the plastic material breaks down over time into teeny tiny little pieces that can be consumed by fish and other wildlife, and gets into our environment in a very insidious way. So like the MRCTI, we at EPA believe that we need to protect the Mississippi River as one of the most valuable resources in the United States, and more specifically for today's announcement to reduce plastic pollution in the river through community-driven efforts. Investing in communities to make them cleaner, healthier, stronger, and more economically competitive is one of our most important objectives at EPA. And we're focused on ensuring that all communities realize the full protections of our environmental laws and policies. When President Biden took office, he pledged to prioritize what we call in this country as environmental justice, and to take a whole of government approach to advance racial equity across our country. It's our obligation to empower historically underserved communities who have long borne the burden of pollution and suffered disproportionately from the impacts of climate change and unsustainable materials management. We have at EPA, we're developing a new national recycling strategy that we expect to issue later this fall, which highlights the actions needed from governments, industry, and others to transform our recycling system in ways that will help communities, all communities, save natural resources, protect their residents, and keep our environment clean and safe. While the strategy focuses on municipal solid waste recycling, we're broadening our vision to help the nation address the full impacts of materials on our communities. And helping with recycling, of course, will contribute to helping the effort that you have underway along the Mississippi River. But recycling is not enough. We need a transformative vision of our waste management system, one that's inclusive, more equitable, more circular, and reflects the urgency of the climate crisis. So we see the national recycling strategy as the first part of a series of strategies building on a circular economy for all of us. We must be more innovative in how we design and use materials. The vision for how we use materials begins with designing products to be sustainable in the first place, reducing the creation of waste with local communities in mind, maximizing reuse and recycling, and minimizing the impacts of waste management at the end of life. So we are incredibly excited to start working with the Mississippi River Cities and Towns Initiative to reduce plastics from entering the Mississippi River. And we have signed a technical assistance memorandum of understanding with your organization to formalize our partnership. This is a first of its kind, this partnership, spanning multiple regions to sustainably manage waste and prevent and reduce plastic pollution in the Mississippi River. And you should all be so very proud to be part of this initiative. It brings together EPA, state and local governments, businesses, concerned citizens to identify collective actions that enhance trash prevention and improve the environment for communities. For our part, we bring the ability to convene key stakeholders from around the country to have focused discussions on the challenges and identify realistic, proven solutions. Under the MOU, we'll also be able to learn which approaches are the most successful at the local level. We have so much to learn from you and from the things that you can implement in your community successfully. That will in turn allow us to help other communities in the United States who aren't lucky enough to be along the Mississippi River to achieve results in their communities. We'll also be able to share best practices that have been developed elsewhere in the country and around the world with you. So I'm excited to announce that EPA is partnering with and providing financial support to the United Nations Environment Program, to their Regional Office for North America for marine litter work with the Mississippi River Cities and Towns initiatives. Our contributions will help support the initiative's expansion from the existing 3 pilot cities that you've heard about already of Baton Rouge, St. Louis, and St. Paul, and 2 planned pilot locations in Memphis and the Quad Cities to additional communities along the Mississippi River, including those that are vulnerable, underserved, and overburdened by environmental challenges, including plastic pollution. We aim to elevate our best practices, lessons learned, and methodologies for on-the-ground initiatives to reduce plastic pollution that can be replicated in other domestic and international contexts. You guys will lead the way, and I'm so pleased to be a part of it. We really support taking global action to address marine plastic litter, and this cooperation with UNEP will help create opportunities to share what we learn here at home with partners around the world. So let me just once again recognize that it takes so many hands and so much work to bring programs like this to reality. So thank you again to all the mayors, and especially to their teams, the people who take the ideas from leadership and turn them into reality, turn them into programs that can be implemented on the ground, and especially ones like this that can get people excited in their neighborhoods. There's nothing more emblematic of the challenges we have in our cities and neighborhoods than plastic trash on the street. And this is a program that can get people excited about taking care of that and having a really immediate impact on their own environment, as well as knowing that they are helping to prevent that pollution from traveling all the way down that amazing river into the Gulf of Mexico. So thank you for the opportunity to work with all of you to address this issue and other issues that I know you deal with every day. Thank you again, and I'm going to turn it back to Mayor Gallagher.
Thank you, Administrator. Really appreciate your comments. It's great to see the collaboration between the MRCTI and the EPA being recognized in this memorandum of understanding. So we greatly appreciate your taking the time to speak with us today, and we appreciate the commitment of the EPA to helping the mayors of the Mississippi River improve the environmental health of one of the world's most important waterways. I like your aorta comment. The lawyer in me wants to make sure that you haven't protected that, and we can put that on marketing materials, like, have you protected the aorta of the nation or anything like that? We'll certainly attribute the comments to you. You'll get a byline, but I enjoyed that thought process, because as we touch 31 states and 2 Canadian provinces here in the Mississippi River Valley, it certainly is either the heartbeat or the aorta, something in that range. So we appreciate it. Now I'd like to hand things over to Jenny Wendt, MRCTI Plastic Waste Reduction Campaign Manager. Jenny's going to introduce the segment where we will hear some details about the Mississippi River Plastic Pollution Initiative and the release of its report from the cities along the river. Jenny, the floor is yours.
Good morning, and thank you, Mayor Gallagher, and thank you all for taking the time to be here today to learn about the results of the initial phase of the Mississippi River Plastic Pollution Initiative. I do not know of a community in our country that doesn't have an issue with plastic waste. While all cities struggle with this pollution in their communities and waterways, the Mississippi River sees it exponentially. Because the Mississippi River is a drainage system for 40% of the continental US, plastic pollution easily travels through storm drains and tributaries to the Mississippi River. As the river ebbs and flows, plastic waste is either left behind in our river cities or it makes its way to the Gulf and to the ocean. The Mississippi River Plastic Pollution Initiative was designed to address this problem. As said before, MRCTI has joined forces with the United Nations Environment Program, the University of Georgia, the National Geographic Society, and local governments, organizations, and the education community to make this initiative a reality. Over 100 organizations partnered on the initial phase of this initiative throughout the 3 pilot cities and beyond, including Mississippi River Network's National Public Program, One Mississippi, and local partners like Rotary clubs, educators, community groups, and many others that have committed to this initiative. The report results are astounding. The vast majority of items collected are made of plastic. While this is to be expected, it is also disturbing since plastic does not decompose, but rather breaks down into microscopic quantities. This means that all plastic that has ever been produced and has ended up in the environment is still present today. It is important to mention also a critical statistic. Over 290 million tons of trash are generated in our country annually. Many people see litter as an individual litter bug issue. However, even if 99% of all trash is properly disposed, about 3 million tons of trash still ends up in our environment every year. This is why it is critical for us to focus on reducing waste. I'm honored to introduce Barbara Hendry, the Director of the North America Office for the United Nations Environment Program. We are very fortunate that Barbara saw the importance of the collaborative effort necessary to combat plastic waste in the Mississippi River.
Thanks so much, Jenny. And hello, everyone. I'm just delighted to be here with the mayors and the partners of MRCTI. I think most of you know us. For those of you who don't, the UN Environment Program is the lead agency within the UN system for environmental challenges around the world. And one issue at the very top of our agenda is plastic pollution, and especially plastic that, as we have been saying, finds its way from land and river systems into the world's oceans. As Deputy Administrator McCabe said, a lot of this, the great majority, is stuff that we use maybe for a minute, like a plastic candy wrapper, and then throw away. But it actually ends up in our environment and stays there pretty much forever. It really doesn't go away. So the result is that plastic waste is now one of the biggest threats to marine ecosystems around the world, with around 11 million tons of plastic leaking into the ocean every year. That's a lot of plastic. You may not realize it. I actually didn't realize it until recently, but our oceans generate between half and 2/3 of our atmospheric oxygen, the oxygen that we breathe. So when plastic leaks into our ocean, we're not only destroying marine environments and choking the species and the precious biodiversity they contain, we're actually literally choking ourselves. That's why we're so delighted to be partnering on this Mississippi River Plastic Pollution Initiative, which is actually one of the first such efforts to gather data on the flow of plastic and other marine debris into a major freshwater system anywhere in the world. So not only is this initiative groundbreaking, it's also a great example of what can be achieved when you involve ordinary people as citizen scientists in their communities. We need this sort of initiative and this sort of data gathering to be replicated around the world if we're to begin to tackle this major environmental challenge. And we really hope that what we do here will not only help cities and towns along the Mississippi rivers, but provide an example globally about what can be done to help address the plastic pollution crisis. Thank you so much. Jenny, back to you.
Thank you, Barbara. I would like to now hand it over to Valerie Craig, Deputy Chief Scientist and Vice President of Science and Innovation at the National Geographic Society. Valerie?
Thanks so much, Jenny. And hello, everyone. Thanks so much for having me here today. On behalf of National Geographic Society, I'm excited to be here with you to discuss the results of this pilot effort to address the huge issue of plastic pollution that you've been hearing about this morning. So I think we can all agree that plastics have changed our lives, and in many ways that's been for the better. But it's the mismanagement of plastic waste that has inadvertently become a problem of now an almost unimaginable scale. So as Barb mentioned, 11 million metric tons of plastic are entering our oceans every year. And it's projected that by 2050, which sounds far away, but is now less than 30 years away, we'll have produced more than 34 billion tons of plastic. So it's a huge problem. It's global, it's visible, it's harmful, but we also believe it's a problem that's solvable. National Geographic has supported quite a bit of work in this space over the past few years. We've led scientific expeditions, we've given research grants, and we've launched a global innovation challenge, all aiming to fill critical knowledge gaps and to pilot solutions. And of course, we're also one of the partners in this Mississippi River Plastic Pollution Initiative. And it's this partnership in particular that is so important because it's helping to fill those data gaps, which is necessary to chart a path to a sustainable future. And also because it has the power to inspire Americans to take real action and to be part of the solution. This complex problem of plastic pollution requires the attention and commitment of as many people as possible in order to generate creative solutions. And that's where citizen science comes in. In 2018, National Geographic partnered with Debris Tracker, the citizen science app utilized for this initiative, because we knew that when community members collect data about litter in real time in their own backyards, they'd be helping scientists and researchers better understand the bigger picture of the plastic pollution crisis. And they connect with the problem itself more tangibly than if they only are hearing stories about it. Throughout the pilot, it was incredible to see hundreds of people daily tracking litter and contributing to the larger database established by each community volunteer. I'm certain that many of the volunteers will be ready to participate in future activities and will be part of thinking through solutions for their communities. In addition to citizen science, this initiative also brought together formal and informal educators from all 3 pilot cities to explore how the project could be integrated into their students' learning. We provided training on how to use the Debris Tracker app, supplemental educational materials for extended learning, and perhaps most importantly, an opportunity for educators to share ideas with one another. Dr. Jenna Jambeck, who you'll hear from next, was also able to meet with educators and students in each pilot site and visited several schools to host litter tracking sessions with classrooms. This education work extends the impact of the short-term project, enabling teachers to continue to use debris tracker and educate children for many years about the problem of plastic waste and how they can get involved in helping solve the problem and even be solution creators in the future. I'm hopeful that participating in this very extensive citizen science effort will have opened the eyes of young people and other community members to the magnitude and urgency of the challenge, and maybe more importantly, inspire some of them to become change agents in their own communities. National Geographic is super pleased to be part of the pilot, and I'd really like to thank all the volunteers for their commitment to solving the issue, and I'm looking forward to your thoughts and ideas on how we move forward. Thanks so much for having me here. And now I'm very pleased to hand things over to Dr. Jenna Jambeck, professor at the University of Georgia's College of Engineering and a National Geographic Fellow. Jenna?
Thanks so much, Valerie. It's really an honor to be a part of this partnership. I'm so grateful to everyone. And Valerie, I'm really glad you focused on the contribution of all of the community members to this project as a segue into this talk, because really this would not have been possible without everybody's efforts, including team members of mine who are listening in. So Catherine Youngblood, who is the Citizen Science Director for Debris Tracker, and Sheridan Finder, a master's student in my research group who contributed and got to do some field work associated with this work. So with those great introductions, let's talk about some of the results that we saw. And thinking about the efforts of everyone, collectively, the entire community surveyed 111 kilometers squared. What does that really mean? That's over 20,000 football fields. So that area was scientifically surveyed for us to be able to talk about the quantities of litter that we're seeing. That was over 75,000 items, and 80% of the community members who participated took a survey, said that they actually were able to remove the litter that they were logging, which resulted in about 662 pounds, which is equal to about a grizzly bear worth of plastic collected and cataloged for this work. Now, that wasn't the only work that happened. Many people, especially in the pilot cities, conducted cleanups as well. So we know that there was even more litter and plastic removed from the environment and kept out of the river. These are just a couple of the images. Again, I just really feel like we need to acknowledge all of the partner organizations, all of the community members and the people that really worked hard to collect the data. And how was that done? So what we did actually was adopt some research methods that we had developed as a part of previous work with National Geographic on a sea to source expedition in the Ganges to this Mississippi River project, but using the community-based science initiative. And so we encourage people to survey these litter aggregation pathways about 1 meter wide, and then simply asking them to walk for 30 minutes and collect data on what they find. Every single piece of litter in that path that they walk for 30 minutes is recorded with the free and open mobile app Debris Tracker. And just to talk about the contribution to the global initiative, globally over 4 million, actually getting very close to 5 million items have been recorded by Debris Tracker and are within the database. So those over 75,000 items contributed. Nearly 100 countries in the world have had people tracking and collecting this kind of data. So it really feeds this global picture. And the data is free and open to everyone. So how did people know where to go? So we produce these maps based upon areas of interest along the river and sent them to locations with these yellow squares. And that's how people knew where to start walking for their 30 minutes. If possible, they could reach these. We also encourage people to opportunistically walk where they could, but this kept people spread out. And when enough data was collected in some of these squares, they turned blue. So people knew that enough data was collected there. And that actually became a motivating factor to try to turn these squares blue and know that there was enough data there to talk about. And people walked those paths. Here's the data. As I said, it's free and open for anyone to see at any time. So you can collect the data and immediately, you know, have that feedback of knowing that you contributed and see your data on a map. And so these are some of the transects, those pathways that we call where people had walked. And anyone can explore the data at debristracker.org/data. This is under the Mississippi River Plastic Pollution Initiative and MRCTI list, which is one list that everybody used to collect the data. And you know, you can explore and even download the data to make your own maps and visuals with the data. So of those over 75,000 items, what were the top items in the entire basin? So we'll talk about sort of the summary of the results that way first. The top item found was cigarette butts. Oftentimes people don't realize that the filters are made of cellulose acetate, which is plastic, which doesn't biodegrade. They are not just paper. Second item is food wrappers. Third item was plastic beverage bottles. And then we saw some foam fragments and aluminum cans within the top 5. That was a bit different on floating debris. So besides doing these transects on land that were fairly close to the river, but not just the riverbank, we really wanted to look at litter concentrations where we have our societal activities, right? That's really what we are interested in, even though it's a little bit, you know, further inland maybe than the river itself. What is ending up on the ground, because we want to prevent that from happening in the first place. So people also stared at the river. So we had a protocol where you look at the river for about 15 minutes and count things that float by. And almost 2,000 items were counted and logged that way as well, with the top item being foam fragments. So these are the items that then actually were able to be transported and end up in the river and then were floating. Plastic beverage bottles and aluminum cans would eventually sink if they filled with water because they are more dense, but filled with air, they do float. So foam fragments, plastic bags, those beverage bottles and tin cans, and then foam cups as well were found in the river. So now I'm going to kind of shift the focus to the 3 pilot cities so we can see how there were similarities across them, and then also a few differences. So the total items that were logged within Baton Rouge, this map shows the areas where items were logged, was about 9,500, with the top item being beverage bottles. And then the food wrappers were second, foam fragments, foam and plastic cups. Overall, the composition, 82% of all of the items found by count were plastic. What we also did, because when there was enough data to satisfy the quantity needed to characterize a 1 kilometer square of litter density, we went ahead and mapped those, right? So you can see that litter density does vary across the city. And there was also data collected where we didn't quite have enough to say we can say what the litter density is in this square, but that all contributed to the larger figures within the community. And so really what we found was based upon areas. You can see there was 22 kilometers squared surveyed, and that litter density is about equal to, if you were to walk the length of a city block, you would find on average 61 items. But you can see that varies across the city. We also asked community members to tell us the brand, if they could be identified of the items that they were collecting. Now, there's a full table of all the brands that were identified in the report, but I just grabbed a few snapshots here to see where we had the most variety of brands. Now, these weren't necessarily, you know, top items, right? If cigarette butts were high on the list, oftentimes, unless it's the packaging itself, you can't identify a brand. So this is where they could be identified, but you can see there's a wide variety in the beverage, the candy and gum, and the alcohol categories. So for St. Louis, we had over 28,000 items that were logged, and you can see the map here. About 74% of those were plastic. The number 1 item here by quite a bit was cigarette butts, with beverage bottles moving to number 2. Still finding those foam fragments, food wrappers, and then plastic bags rounding out the top 5. About 43 kilometers squared were surveyed here. And so the litter density then found over that would equal to be finding about 69 items per length of a city block. The brands here, people really were able to identify brands and participated in that part of the program here. 195 unique brands identified, and you can see the wide variety, again, in those similar categories that were identified in Baton Rouge. In St. Paul, a total of 12, almost 13,000 items were found. Number one, again, was the cigarette butts, followed by the food wrappers and foam fragments and hard plastic fragments and plastic bags. I think to be noted here, beverage bottles moves out of the top 5 within the St. Paul area, but 75% of the overall composition of items found were plastic. Here's the distribution and the litter density across the city with 46 kilometers squared scientifically surveyed, and that equaling about 28, on average, 28 items per length of a city block. Here, a lot less brands were able to be identified. You can see that fragments were a larger portion of what was found in St. Paul. I think interestingly, this was right after snow melt in April, so that could have impacted some of the composition of what was found. So anyway, but here were some of the brands identified with only 12 items that called out brands. So across, in terms of similarities, we had some discussions with the cities to be able to identify opportunities that could be taken for this data. And I know we'll continue this conversation. But, you know, for me, it's sometimes surprising to find such recyclable and valuable items like PET bottles and aluminum cans. You don't often find those internationally or around the world, but these items are still ending up in our environment instead of the recycle stream. Thinking about the pathways of this material to get to the river and stormwater management and looking at outfalls and various water management engineering components to be able to put in traps and debris catchment systems. And so really cities are interested in trying to figure out how to keep it from getting to the river, as well as preventing it from the environment in the first place. You could see that those litter densities were differing across the cities. And so we really encourage community-based and neighborhood level conversations that could generate context-specific interventions within each city. And so the commonly littered items, cigarettes and food wrappers, are really products that people use on the go. And so thinking about sort of the situation around that and how we might be able to better capture those materials within the systems and the cities. So just so you know, the report is out now. It's posted. You can find it at the unep.org/Mississippi site, where you can find all kinds of information and also information about the upcoming work in the Quad Cities, which we are excited to start training this month and start the field activities in October. I think we're able to take questions now. Back to you, Jenny.
Any questions? I know that we did put the link in the chat to the report. It's in there a couple times. We really appreciate that. Jenny?
Yes, I just want to thank Jenna and all the panelists. A special thanks to the mayors, partner organizations, and the hundreds of citizen scientists who work diligently on this pilot phase and will continue to work on this initiative. If you would like to ask a question, you can ask it in the chat, in the Q&A, or raise your hand and we will answer any questions you have.
There is one, Jenny, that asked the actual PowerPoint that was used here is easier to present. Any way we can get our hands on this? Dr. Jambek?
Of course. Sure, of course. Yeah, we'd be more than happy to share the PowerPoint.
Mayor Constant.
Yes, Jenny. You know, this has been incredible. It continues to look, you know, I just can't say enough about this. I want to absolutely be the next municipality participating in the plastic cleanup. So I want to get my name on that list.
Come on up here in October. I'll walk with you.
I'll walk with you. I'll walk with you, Mayor Gallagher. And then you can come down here and walk with me.
Absolutely.
I would love to be a part of that one day. I appreciate the work that y'all all do, and just really wanted to say thank you to that panel. It was tremendously helpful and eye-opening for sure, and something that I can't wait to share with our community. The statistical data is just mind-boggling, right? And I think when you engage the community and they become a part of the solution, its success, just is continues to grow. So I'm excited about that. So thank you.
Any other questions?
I think that there were a couple offline. Let me see if I can find those. Jane, do you have there were some questions that came through.
I'm seeing some comments and some thanks. Rotary is thrilled to be part of it. We appreciate that. Jill, thank you for your work. Folks from Bemidji, Minnesota Rotary, thank you. There was a question, what teachers did you work with in St. Paul for the data collection? Was there a group of teachers that was volunteering time?
Let's see. I will have to look at my list exactly to find out. I have a large list of partners, but let me see if I can pull somebody up and see who all we work with in St. Paul. I know that we did work with, there was a Minnesota film festival that talked about a movie that was put together, and I can't bring it to my mind right now, but it was mixed with this cafeteria culture, and they had students go out and take a look at what they're finding, and really focused on microplastics, but overall plastic waste reduction. And then worked with the cafeterias at the schools to see what type of plastic litter was ending up in the waste stream, and to really try to reduce that plastic within the cafeterias of their schools. So we worked with some teachers at that university, at that school. And I know we also worked with some universities in St. Paul as well.
Awesome.
And I'll pull that up if anybody else has questions.
Slide that in the chat. That might help our friends in Bemidji hook up with the teachers or find the right group. Thank you. Any other questions in the chat? I didn't see any. I'll look at the question and answer feature. More of a comment there.
Oh, sorry, Mayor.
Please go ahead, Jenna.
Sure, I can just add, we also worked with universities in each city, which was amazing to have those collaborations. So LSU and St. Louis University in St. Louis and the University of Minnesota. And I actually gave a seminar to the university when we were there. So we had interaction, not just in the secondary level, but in higher education during the time in Minnesota. And I'm actually from Minnesota myself. So I had lots of family members. So my cousin living in St. Louis Park involved her kids and her students all there. So we had all kinds of roots in that city as well, outside of St. Paul, actually.
Terrific.
Yes, and I did just pull up, we worked with the, I had it, hold on, sorry. Debbie Lee Cohen, who was part of the cafeteria culture. And there were the documentary is called Microplastic Madness, which is a fantastic documentary that really gets children involved in taking a look and doing some home waste audits, and spreading that to their families as well. There was Milky Osman, Jesse Bishop, and Deb Girdwood, all were part of that presentation.
Also looks like in the chat there was an answer from Angie Tilgus. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Left some information where she was helpful in working with a bunch of organizations there in St. Paul, including some of the schools. So that would be a great contact. We do have a question, Deputy Administrator, if you might help us through this. We just signed today in various parts this memorandum of understanding, and there's a question about what the next steps might be. I had a very brief opportunity to read through it this morning and to give the green light from my perspective. Do you want to tackle that question for us?
Well, I can do a little bit. Definitely talks about us supporting one another as the work goes forward. I'm actually looking to see if I have a copy of it handy.
Brant, do you have it? You probably read through it as well.
Yes, it has a lot to do with the EPA helping us with our plastic pollution initiative and providing guidance and support to our cities.
Okay.
I can add a little bit on that as well. I think what we're gonna really focus on is working with the regions specifically that are located along the Mississippi River, and so that we can really target those the EPA's efforts directly on the communities. And so what we'll do is we'll share the information that we're gathering and work with the communities and really like Jenna showed on that map where it showed some of the litter densities, try to really get in and find out from the communities. What we really want to know is, what do they see the problem is? What do they think solutions are? Instead of usually, we all always have ideas for education and outreach and push it out there and think that everybody's listening to it, but really try to listen to the communities and take their involvement and incorporate it into solutions.
Yeah, and I would agree with that, because these projects have to happen at the local level with local engagement, and the ideas and commitment need to come from the local areas. And what EPA can do is provide technical assistance. We can share best practices from other places that we know about, where we have grant opportunities that can help fund the projects that cities and towns want to do. There could be opportunities there, and be a connector, I hope, to resources and to other organizations that are working on similar things.
Fantastic. Those are the questions that I see.
And Mayor Gallagher, there have been some questions about how we engage in the community efforts. And, when we started the initiative in the 3 pilot cities, we really reached out to the regular organizations, of course, that are, the sustainability, environmental conservation, and that, of course, is fantastic. We would really like to expand in the future, trying to work with communities or with groups that maybe this isn't their first issue. For me, somebody would reach out to me and I would jump on board anything that has to do with this. But we're really trying to kind of get in the weeds and let's see who else would be interested if they really knew about it. So that's another part of that community engagement that we're going to really try to focus on moving forward.
Excellent. Anything else? Seeing no, yes. Jane, you have your hand up.
Thank you, Mayor Gallagher. I was wondering if Jenna could elaborate on some of the recommendations for cities following this report and some of the potential actions that communities could take to reduce plastic pollution. Thanks.
Thank you, Jane. Jenna?
Sure. Well, I think we talked about some of the opportunities in the presentation that I gave. And I would just really echo Jenny's discussion of having, for us, collecting this data in similar areas around the world, bringing the local community together to talk about what this data means, what this means to them, what they see the solutions, could be that are fitting for their community and for their context. So we call that like context sensitive design in terms of interventions and solutions, which I think is really critical. So I know that's sort of a non-answer, but I know that both Jenny may have something to add to this as well. And Barb has her hand up, so maybe she has something more to add.
Barb?
Thanks. Can you hear me okay? I think
Yes,
I
ma'am.
unmuted. Yeah, I just wanted to come back to the community aspect, the citizen science aspect, and just make the point I talked about this initiative being groundbreaking in terms of gathering data like this. It's also groundbreaking in really mobilizing communities. And one of the things that the UN Environment Program does is we generate global standards and best practices for countries to adopt. And actually, this initiative on the Mississippi is now influencing our global monitoring standards for how can we assess plastic running through freshwater systems into our oceans, because often those standards become very technical and they're not always so easy to adopt, and they don't always include a community engagement and education component. But the way that this initiative is rolling out, and with thanks to the leadership of all of you, we are adjusting our global monitoring protocols to make sure that citizens and citizen science is part of the equation. It has huge benefits, not just for data collection, but for awareness raising, for advocacy, and as we've seen, for cleanup. So, you know, this initiative is not just important for the Mississippi. I can't overestimate or underestimate or emphasize enough how important it is as a global standard. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else on this topic?
I have one more thing to say.
Please.
You know, one of the things in working with the United Nations Environment Program, and, you know, we all know about ocean plastics. And I mean, I live in St. Louis, Missouri, in the middle of the country, and those around me, you see the ocean plastics as being such an issue so far away from us. And what this initiative does is really show how all of our actions, no matter, well, in the Mississippi River, 40% of the country, you know, you drop a plastic bottle in Colorado and storm drains, tributaries, rivers, Mississippi River, Gulf, and bringing that awareness of that issue, that no matter where you are, that litter on the ground is very likely going to end up as ocean plastic. And that's what people see as being the major problem far away. We need people to know that it's all of our problem and we can make an impact, positive or negative, on that issue. And that's all.
Thank you.
I'll turn it over to you now.
Quick question here. I think we've kind of covered, but I'm curious what the next steps are and what pilot cities are going to do with this information to turn this into plans for addressing the issue. And that's kind of what we talked about in terms of allowing those pilot cities, and hopefully ours next here in the Quad Cities, to take a look at this information, determine where those problems are, come up with solutions, and work with this group and others to employ or deploy those solutions. Did you have anything else you wanted to add there, Jenny?
In talking with the pilot cities and, you know, working closely with Mayor Broome and Jones and Carter, yes, there are a lot of things that we need to do on this, but we really need to focus on, of course, our solid waste systems, and collecting that waste to begin with, and our stormwater systems, which, you know, we'd like to say it's not a stormwater issue because we're taking care of all of our waste to begin with, but we know that there's going to be leakage. But then also in finding ways to reduce plastic to begin with, you know, water filling stations, that's an easy one. It's that people can implement and get folks to try to use more reusable bottles instead of plastic bottles, and try to working with different businesses to see how we can capture those materials, how we can incentivize that capture of those materials so that folks feel like there's a benefit to taking those back and keeping those off the streets and in the environment. Just a couple things.
Awesome, thank you. Barbara, your hand's up. You want to add?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Gallagher. I think one of the things also we're thinking about going forward is how do we engage companies and industry as partners in this effort? You know, companies and industries do not want to see their brands up there in the kind of, you know, plastic pollution map of the Mississippi River. So particularly where they're local bottling plants or local facilities, it's an opportunity to get them into the conversation, get them into the initiative, and get them to think about really, are there things that can be done from their perspective? What can they bring to the table to help tackle the problem? Thank you.
Thank you. And again, we've got another site where you can find the bottle tracking experiment information and results. So I appreciate all your help. Thank you very much to all of our partners for participating in this session. We appreciate you putting in so much effort. We appreciate the collaboration and your expertise. We knew that when we took this effort on in 2018, that reducing plastic waste in the Mississippi River Valley was not going to be an easy project. But with committed partners like the United States EPA, UNEP, the University of Georgia, National Geographic, and others, we have accomplished much already, and I look forward to working with you all on our future actions, especially our collection of data coming up here in the Quad Cities in a month. So thank you all for being here. We're going to move now to the election of our new executive committee and co-chairs. As directed, mayors interested in serving in these important offices have communicated their intentions to our executive director, who has assembled a slate for the nomination process today. You'll recall that we have on the executive committee one representative from each state plus 2 co-chairs. The slate includes the following to serve on the executive committee and as co-chairs: Melvin Carter, the mayor of St. Paul, Minnesota; Mitch Reynolds, the mayor of La Crosse, Wisconsin; Scott Madison, the mayor of Clinton, Iowa; Robert Eastern III, the mayor of East St. Louis, Illinois; Phil Stang, the mayor of Kimmswick, Missouri; Cliff Berry, the mayor of Tiptonville, Tennessee; Kevin Smith, the mayor of Helena, West Helena, Arkansas; George Flaggs, the mayor of Vicksburg, Tennessee; and Belinda Constant, the mayor of Gretna, Louisiana. Our 2 rockstar co-chairs, thank you for stepping into these roles. Jim Strickland, mayor of Memphis, Tennessee. I hope you're still feeling better there, Jim. Sorry that you're in quarantine. That was the worst part for me. And Eric Simmons, the mayor of Greenville, Mississippi. Did I say that right, Eric? I've known you for 10 years and I've been trying to say Greenville different like you do, Greenville. I appreciate you guys all.
You said it right, Mayor. You said it right, Mayor. Thank you.
I was trying, man. I love you.
Love you too, brother.
We'll now open the floor for any further nominations. If there are any, we'd like to hear from you. Raise your hand or unmute and you can speak if there's another nomination. Please remember that these positions are for 2 years and the co-chair seats must be occupied by a mayor from a city with a population above 100,000 and one below 100,000 people. Any mayor may nominate other people or themselves at this time. All right. Seeing no further nominations, let's close our nominations. And we'll move to a vote on our slate. Is there a function here, Brant? I'm reading this. It says there's a yes/no vote. I'm just going to call the vote like we normally would, or is there some function technologically that we're going to do this vote?
No, Mayor, there's no function technologically. This is the first time we've had to do this way. Last time we did this was in 2019 live in Memphis. So only mayors can vote, and it is typically by voice acclamation if we were in a room, unless a mayor stands to be recognized and asks for an individual count.
All right, so let's have the mayors unmute themselves, and I will call for a motion to approve the slate of candidates as I read them.
I move we approve the candidates.
We've got a motion by Mayor Fox. I think Mayor Bodden. Thank you, Mike. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving this slate signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed to the slate? Same sign. We have unanimously approved our slate. Congratulations on the new leadership of MRCTI. I'd now like to recognize our co-chairs for any remarks that they may have. We'll start with our big city and go to our smaller city. Since I was a smaller city, we always used to let Sharon go first, of course. So we'll start with Jim Strickland, the mayor of Memphis, Tennessee. Your Honor.
Well, thank you very much. I am honored for this. Mayor Broom, Mayor Gallagher, y'all have done an outstanding job these last 2 years. We'll try to continue that role going, and I look forward to working with everyone. Colin does a great job. I'm excited about this. I can't wait till we can see each other in person this coming March, and look forward to working with Mayor Simmons.
The Honorable Mayor Simmons, Greenville, you got the floor, buddy.
Thank you so much, my friend, and to you and Mayor Sharon Western Broom. You have done an outstanding job along with the executive board over the last 2 years. We want to thank all of you all for the work that you continue to do to support the Mississippi River, particularly everything that we do throughout Middle America and making sure that we're not left behind. And so to the executive board that we'll be serving with, I want to thank you all for your leadership, what you do in your local communities as well. You know, one of the major roles that we do day in and day out for our local communities is how we improve the conditions of those folks in our communities. And I think we're doing a wonderful job with this organization by using the river as a linchpin, but also as a uniter of all of these 10 states to do what we do to represent our folks, to bring economic development, infrastructure, and the various things that we need to do to improve the quality and quantity of life of the folks that we represent. We can only do it with the wonderful staff of MRCTI. And so thanks Colin and Brent and all of his team for making it easy for us to continue to serve not only our local communities, but the Mississippi River Corridor. So thank you all so much. I look forward to working with you, Mayor Strickland. I was there last weekend at the Southern Heritage Classic, Jackson State. Did beat Tennessee State, but we were there in one of your wonderful stadiums there playing that classic. So look forward to continue to work with you, Mayor Strickland, as well.
Well, thank you, Mayor Strickland and Simmons, and congratulations to both of you. So excited for this journey that you're about to embark on. Before we adjourn, as you notice, Mayor Gallagher and I have big smiles on our faces.
May the good Lord not bring you a pandemic you don't know anything about.
No, I'm just teasing. We're smiling because we know that MRCTI is in great hands. That's why we're smiling. But we definitely want to convey our heartfelt gratitude to all of our mayors that presided and took part in this annual meeting, including and especially our friends and partners from the federal government, the private sector, and the states. We know that a virtual platform is a far cry from the very place-based annual meetings we typically have. So thank you to everyone for joining us. And if I may take a personal privilege, time of personal privilege, and then pass it to my colleague, Mayor Gallagher, you know, I have to be very transparent with you and say that my term as co-chair with my friend Bob Gallagher has certainly been a very rewarding and fulfilling experience for me as a leader. I am involved with a number of organizations with mayors involved, right? But I have to tell you, and I say this in all honesty, at the top of my list is MRCTI, because I really feel included in this organization. I really feel that we're all in alignment in terms of our goals. And in addition to that, I feel that we are accomplishing our objectives in this process. Just the report on the plastics pollution initiative and being a part of that program certainly made me feel like I am moving the needle for my community as it relates to litter control along the Mississippi River. But I want to thank all of the staff at MRCTI, Colin and Brad and Tiara and Jen and everybody for being such a great support system for this very valuable organization. And as I've been saying lately, Mayor, rain, rain, go away. So, thank you all so much. And it's been a pleasure to serve you all.
If it's not one thing, it's another, right, Sharon? Well, I too want to echo Sharon's comments about thanking the staff. This truly is an organization that staff run. As you all know, when we agree to take leadership positions, we get a great orientation, we get great help and support. I think in the 2 years that Sharon and I co-chaired the MRCTI, we were only physically in each other's presence twice. I think it was when we came down to Baton Rouge to meet your staff and spend some time there, and in Washington, D.C., and we were one of the last ones out, and then they shut the place down and we haven't been invited back. So it's been a very interesting 2 years, and that highlights the work of the staff even more. It was a very difficult meeting to pull off, as you saw with some of the glitches in some technology, but thank you to Brant for running it, for Colin, for bouncing around the city of St. Louis, trying to make that look a little bit better, like our place-based annual meetings. Tiara pushing all the buttons and helping us get what we need in terms of our continuities. And Jenny, thanks so much for the plastic waste work that you're doing. You know, we continue to move forward, and I see a lot of the same faces, a lot of the great leaders, and two of them are stepping up now. So thank you to Jim Strickland, to Eric Simmons, good friends, great people. But we've also had folks like Belinda Constant and Phil Stang, who are steadfast, all the time people. But to be a successful organization like we have been, I think we really need some new blood. And I'm really excited about some of the people who have stepped up, including Scott Madison from Clinton, Iowa. He's a young mayor doing great things in Clinton. I've talked to him a few times on some innovation that he's bringing to the city of Clinton, which is an old city that needs his innovation. And I think people like that will help us to continue to move forward. It's been an honor and privilege to serve with Sharon. It's been an honor and privilege to serve this great organization. I'm not going anywhere. I got 2 more years on my term, and I think I'll be running again. So we'll be here to support you any way that we can. And I know Sharon will do the same. So thank you all very much for a wonderful opportunity. It's been a pleasure to serve with. This is a great organization that's doing great things. And if any of you have a little bit of a hard time convincing your city council, call me, because 8 or 9 years ago, that was a conversation here. And, you know, we're proud to be a dues paying member and proud of the work this organization does. It's pretty easy for us to explain the great things that come out of this organization when we work with people, different people from both sides of the aisle to solve different problems. And there's great reasons, economical and environmental, for instance, to clean up our river. If we have to spend less money cleaning that drinking water, it's a pretty good conservative argument. And if I can make you happy on the left side by getting some of the trash out of there and you feel a little bit better as well, we're winning. And that's the kind of thing that the MRCTI has done. All of us from diverse and different backgrounds, diverse in different cities, diverse in different states have come together and do great work on behalf of the river. So thank you. All right, our next meeting will be in Washington, D.C., March 8th through the 10th. It's still scheduled to be a live event as of now. It may end up being a different kind of meeting. That's part of this virtual, part in person. We'll have to figure that out as we get closer, but we all want a big presence in our nation's capital this March to make the Mississippi River Corridor part of the congressional agenda. We still have much to do and miles of river to go, but we hope everyone can plan on joining us in St. Louis, September 13th through the 15th, 2022 for our 10th anniversary MRCTI meeting.
Thank you, Mayor Gallagher, so much. From the staff side of things here in St. Louis, our guest of honor, reason we're here, Mississippi River, she's right behind me, taking a bow next to the one leg of the St. Louis Arch. That's the north leg of the St. Louis Arch. We can't say enough from the staff side of things about our mayors and all their support and everything they do for the association and each other. Every mayor has a day job that's being mayor, and sometimes they have 2 day jobs if they're not retirees or being supported by the mayor's office completely. So being able to lift the entire corridor together just shows you the level of commitment. I'll just make one comment. We're not able to do the gratitude that we would normally show justice through Zoom, not even close. Yesterday was Wednesday night, would have been our host city showcase dinner and our awards ceremony if we had been live. We would have shown physically demonstrating our appreciation and love and gratitude in person with awards and symbols of recognition last night for all of our mayors. We just aren't able to do that in this format, but we will come back to it. And we will come back to that when we are able to gather in person once again. And we very much look forward to that. I can't thank enough our co-chairs, Mayor Broom and Mayor Gallagher. They have had a tremendously challenging co-chairmanship. As you all know, the last 2 years have been unprecedented, not just for us, but the whole planet. And they have successfully, positively navigated through that very well as incredibly competent operating leaders that have taken this to a whole new level. And somehow we were able to get through all that and still get all this work done and still, as Mayor Broom put it, still move the needle. So that just gives credit to their leadership, their vision, and their commitment around these challenges. To our new co-chairs, Mayor Strickland and Mayor Simmons, who I've known for years now. They've been consummate members, dedicated partners of MRCTI, lifting their cities and the entire corridor up for a long time. I'm excited and can't wait to get started with them and the rest of our executive committee, who, as Mayor Gallagher said, has exciting new blood. Mayor Cliff Berry of Tiptonville, Tennessee, Mayor Madison of Clinton, Iowa, Mayor Reynolds up in Wisconsin. We've got new folks coming in, young, new perspectives and challenges and visions for this great corridor. So thank you all so very much. Personal note of gratitude to my colleagues, Brant Thorington, Tierra Loomis, Jenny Wendt, and our press manager, Drim Gwinner. It takes a village to do this whole thing, and it's well over 700 man hours of work to do an annual meeting, electronic or not. It's just a lot. So thank you, everyone. We will see you hopefully in March live again. But before then, we're going to be participating in a number of things in October, and hopefully we will also be participating in COP26 in Glasgow, Scotland, which we hope to be coming to you live from Scotland in November. Hopefully, it may end up not being a live event after all. In that case, it'll all be virtual, but we'll still be broadcasting and showing everyone what these great mayors are doing around the world with their other major food producing river basins of the planet, which we partner with regularly. So thank you so much, everyone. And from here in St. Louis, stay safe, stay healthy, and we will see you again soon.
Thank you, everyone. We stand adjourned.